Chapter 3, A Glimpse of the End. Journal entry, Day 3. The groaning stopped around dawn, but I knew better than to let my guard down. I waited until the sunlight was strong before stepping outside. The air felt heavy like a storm was brewing, though the skies were clear. The woods were silent, no birds, no wind, just the sound of my own footsteps crunching on the dirt. I walked the perimeter of the cabin, rifle in hand, checking for signs of what had passed through in the night. The garden is beyond saving now, every last vegetable destroyed or buried under footprints. Most were human, but some weren't. Larger, deeper, with strange claw-like impressions. I can't explain what I saw, and honestly, I don't want to. Around midday, I made a decision. I couldn't stay locked in the cabin forever. Supplies don't last indefinitely, and I needed to know more about what was happening. So I took the truck. The old Ford hadn't been started in months, but she roared to life on the first try. I threw my pack in the passenger seat, water, some food, and extra ammunition, and headed toward town. Crescent City isn't large, but it has everything a person might need. A grocery store, a gas station, a hardware shop. I hoped to find at least one of them still standing. The drive was eerie. The road was empty, but it didn't feel abandoned. It felt watched. The forest pressed in on both sides, and every shadow looked like it might move. I didn't see a single car or person on the way into town, just a few bicycles left in ditches and mailboxes tipped over like someone had run into them. When I reached Main Street, my stomach sank. It was a war zone. Cars were scattered everywhere, doors flung open, belongings spilling out as if people had fled in a panic. Some storefronts were shattered, glass glittering in the sunlight. A fire had gutted the diner on the corner, leaving only blackened walls and a collapsed roof. And then there were the bodies. They were everywhere, on the sidewalks, in the street, slumped against walls. Most of them weren't moving. Most. One or two twitched, their limbs jerking unnaturally. I watched from the truck, heart hammering as one of them started to stand. It wasn't fast or coordinated, more like a puppet being yanked to its feet. Its head turned, and for a moment I thought it was looking right at me. I hit the gas. I didn't stop until I reached the grocery store. The parking lot was empty, except for a couple of abandoned cars. The doors to the store were wide open, swinging lazily in the breeze. I parked close and sat for a long time, scanning the area, listening. Nothing moved. I grabbed the rifle and headed inside. The place was a mess. Shelves had been ransacked, the floor littered with broken jars, crushed cereal boxes, and puddles of spilled milk that had long since turned sour. Most of the good stuff was gone. Canned food, bottled water, batteries. But I managed to find a few things. Some dried beans, a couple of jars of peanut butter, and a box of crackers that had somehow escaped the looters' attention. I also found something unexpected. In the back corner, near the storage room, I heard a sound, a faint shuffling, like someone dragging their feet. I froze, gripping the rifle tight, and waited. The sound got closer, and then a figure emerged from the shadows. It wasn't one of them. It was a man, older than me by the looks of him, with a long gray beard and wild eyes. He was holding a crowbar, but he didn't raise it. We just stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. Finally, he spoke. "Don't go back to the cabin," he said. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't spoken in days. "They know you're there." Before I could ask him anything, who he was, what he meant, he turned and disappeared into the storage room. I thought about following him, but something in his voice stopped me. He sounded broken. I grabbed what I could and left. I made it back to the cabin before sunset, but I can't stop thinking about what the man said. They know I'm here. I've boarded up the windows tighter, reinforced the door, and set up a small barricade inside. It's not much, but it's all I can do. The groaning has started again, louder than last night. I think they're closer now. If I don't write tomorrow, you'll know why. Thomas Whitaker.